Okay, so we're back in the spray booth, as I like to call it, possibly overdoing it a little bit, describing it as that. Here's Odie the Wonder Dog with his bucket on his head, bless him, poor boy, he's had to have some surgery. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at this rear panel, get the rest of that paint off. And what I'm going to use for that is a flap disc. Now, I started using one of these on the wing and thought it was much too abrasive. It's an 80 grit flat disc, and I was really concerned because it looked to be leaving some quite deep scores in the paintwork. But actually, once I came sanding it back, it looked pretty good. It was really nice and smooth. So that's a good way of getting the old paint off. So what I've done is I've put nitromores on first, taken a few layers of paint off with that. Now I'm onto the flap disc. What I was hoping to do, of course, was just flat the original paint back, or not the original paint, but the respray back, or I say the respray, the paint that the previous owner had done with a yard brush. I was hoping to flat that back and then just paint over the top of it. But what I found was he hadn't even prepped the paint underneath at all. He hadn't sanded it at all, and so the paint just comes off in chunks. So I've had to take it right back, which basically means I've had to go back to bare metal, which is a bit of a nose. So it's turned out to be a much bigger job than I expected, but that's the way of these things. Right, so we've more or less got that squared away with the flap disc. So now we're going to use some 60 grit just to flatten it all off and get into these corners where I can't get in with the flap disc. Right, so we finished with the 60. So now we're going to have a go with 180. 180. Okay, so now we move to 240 grit. So I'm going to give it a go now with that. Then I'm going to do my skim fill, and then we'll finish off with a 300 odd grit and get some primer on there. Right, we're going to try something new for getting the paint off. Flap disc on a angle grinder. I don't know if this might be a bit aggressive, but we'll give it a go, see what happens. 80 grit. Wow, well, it's certainly quick. It is pretty brutal. Get as flat as possibly can to the panel, otherwise you get big divots in it. And again, the panel's refreshingly free of filler and corrosion, which is great. It's good. So we'll sand all this off, the remains off, and see how we go from there. Well, that's pretty effective. It's quite brutal. Catch an edge. It's not bad. So the video yesterday came to a bit of a sudden end because my dad came out for a bit of a chat, and then I forgot to switch the camera back on. But all I did after taking off with the flat disc was sand it back again, going up the grits. So I started on 80 grit, 150 I think it then was, then 240, and it came out really nice and smooth, really nice and shiny. You almost feel like leaving it like that because it looked really nice. Then I ran out of time, so just give it a little bit of protection overnight. I just put a couple of layers of primer on from a rattle can. I've just sanded those off, so now we're going to do the skim filler, and yeah, it's come out all right actually. So flat disc works nicely. You've got the little one for getting into the nooks and crannies, which I'm going to do next, and then you've got the big one on the grinder wheel, which is great for big flat-ish surfaces like this. Worked really well, very quick, and as long as you're careful, doesn't do any damage to the panel. So yeah, big up for the flat disc. Well, the door is primered up, ready to go, and yeah, smoothing on the baby's left cheek. Very happy with the way that that's come out. It's looking good. So it would appear that a flap disc is the way to go. Epic.